Welcome to Heroes Rising, hosted by Sifu Rafael, a master instructor, public speaker, and the founder of Speaking Prowess. Known for his expertise in empowering individuals through the art of communication and leadership. Alongside him is co-host Jose Escobar, an acclaimed personal development speaker, 18-time published author, and founder of 2 thriving businesses, including the Connected Leaders Academy. Together, they bring you dynamic conversations with world-class entrepreneurs, industry icons, and visionaries. Heroes Rising is your go-to source for wisdom, motivation, and unstoppable growth. Join us and discover the hero within you.
Jose, my hero, how are you, my friend?
Fantastic. How are you?
Okay. What do you think of our new intro?
I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, it's updated. That's very nice. And yeah, thank you for that. I like the music too. It sounds very like we're about to go to war 300 or something. You know, I like that.
We're going. You and me, we always go to war, but we love it, don't we?
We do. That's, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, it is. We have 2 exceptional guests with us coming on our show today. And why don't we go ahead and bring them on? We have Anthony and Aurora. How are you both today? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Great to be here, Sifu and Jose.
Yeah, love it. So today's topic, as we have spoken before, is the art of transformation and leadership. Why do we call that the art? I'm curious. What are your thoughts?
I'll say because it's not perfect. And art, and when art is being created, no matter if it's a painting, music, dance, whatever you to you art is, you're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna be corrected. So as you growing, transforming, metamorphosizing, whatever you want to call it, it's not perfect. But the end result, what everybody sees, what everybody goes and buys, or what everybody goes and bids on, that is the final piece. That is what everyone sees. That's what everyone follows. That's what everyone goes and see. That's leadership.
Well, I would
Very well
say
said.
the word art is super important, especially now, 2025. If it was all science, it would all be done by AI. So I invite us all to lean in, double down on being human, as Joanna Penn says. And it's the humanity that adds the art to the communication, because it's not just what we say, it's not just how we say it. It's who we are being and what our intention is. And do we invite, spirit or excellence or the highest possible vibration to flow through us? Because when we do, that's art.
I love that. I love both of those answers. And of course, Sifu for last, the best for last is what they say, right? So I would kind of take the approach of not so much the word talent, because I think everybody has like God-given talents. I'm more along the lines of skill set. I think it's like developing a skill, right? The art. So the art of sales, for example, sales is a skill. So the art is essentially the process of learning it, right? To develop it, to expand upon it, to increase on something. And I think if we're in the art of sales, or in this case, the art of transformation, it's a journey, it's a process, it's something that we kind of unfold over time.
Love it. I think that, Aurora, you mentioned that AI, and imagine all of the books behind Jose were written by AI. Would we really want to read them? There's no real stories, no grit, no fundamental values that we would be able to gather that information. And so I'm going to leave this for you to think about. Why? Oh, that's my camera telling you why. So I will do that. Why is it that we encourage children to draw, but then later on, we're telling them, don't draw the way you've been drawing, stay within the lines. What's wrong with you? So innovation, creativity is about going outside the lines. It's about creating something that has never been done before. So transformation is transforming yourself from that child who was doing drawings, finger painting, to getting a brush or a pencil, and eventually maybe creating a business, whatever kind of business that is. So that's why I love it. So here's the question. What are your thoughts on some books that are now being written by AI?
Who wants to go first? An exciting topic.
I'll say curiosity. I'll read one just out of curiosity, but I wouldn't want to read them. I wouldn't want to read them. Be honest, I wouldn't. I wouldn't read them.
Yeah, I would elaborate on that and just say it's very impersonal. It's really just it's informational, and you can learn for sure from reading a book written by AI, because it's not like it's actually very insightful stuff. It's just not personal. It's not it doesn't bring that personal touch to a book, right? So somebody has to write the book, right? So when somebody writes the book, they're invoking their stories, their experiences, their personality, their everything into it. You know, it kind of goes hand in hand. So I wouldn't say AI is a bad thing. I would just say it's a tool that one can use to maybe add a little. Like I would look at AI when it comes to writing books as like a salt and pepper to a dish, right? It's like nice to add a little bit of spices with AI to your book that you're writing, but not necessarily allow the AI to do the work for you. I think that's a whole different level, and it just takes away from the beauty of what books are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, doubling down on being human, you opened by talking about the art and science of communication, and I leaned into the art, but now I want to lean into science. So I was just reading 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. And they open with a story about Michelangelo, who is certainly one of the foremost artists of all time. But in order to create the Pieta or David, he actually exhumed cadavers and scientifically studied the body, the tendons, the muscles, the bones. So in great communication, there can also be the science of it. So I teach the blueprint, different communication blueprints, and circling this back. So we want to both master the art and master the science. So we're not just winging it, not just hoping. Like I'm also an award-winning screenwriter. There's a very specific format to a Hollywood blockbuster, as you probably all know from watching them. Now, where AI, I think, can be really useful, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Renoir, famous authors, creators, and artists and sculptors throughout time often had apprentices working underneath them who would, polish this little corner or fill in that little corner or take the rubble out so the master could continue working. And I think if we put the structure, the stories, the statistic, the heart, the passion, the inspiration into a book, I think we can leverage AI like you would leverage an intern from college who's very enthusiastic but can go completely off in wrong directions. So I use AI to help me create the marketing for books, the book descriptions, and also I use AI to analyze books. So I've written a fantasy series, and there's a site called authors.ai. You can upload your whole manuscript, and it will analyze it in 5 minutes. And that can be a great way to go, did I miss something? Maybe the first act is too long. The second act sags in the middle, whatever. It'll give you some information. And I think using AI to analyze a lot of data quickly is valuable, but we need to also remember that a large language model is only going to give us the most common words. They're not going to give the innovative words or the heart-centered words or the eureka moments. They're going to predict what are the most likely words. So it's going to be average.
Mm. Obviously, you know about the words because you're turning words into wealth. Consider the fact that you're using AI, and the way you're using AI will allow you to write more books, but you're still the writer. Right? So I love that concept. And when you start writing these books, you learn to win. I'm just promoting you guys here. You learn to win the day by my good friend Jose. And I know that Anthony's in the process of writing his book. And uh, every time that we read a book, we we get takeaways. I know I do. I know Jose. Um, the way he reads, he instead of me saying it, Jose, tell us how you read books.
Yeah, I follow a few different principles from different people, like Ryan Holiday, Robert Greene, 40 Laws of Power, principles from like Tim Ferriss. So they have like different strategies and techniques on how to dissect books and read them. So for me, I kind of took a bit of everybody's strategies and I kind of created my own along the way, which I describe in the book on how to read a book effectively, right? And winning the day, because I talk about reading as one of the fundamental things I do in my morning routine. And for me, I put dog ears in the book. I always have a highlighter. I have a pen. I have a ruler so I can do underlines, like nice little lines. I always I create my own index in the front of the book, all the key pieces that are the big takeaways, right? And then I'll put sticky notes in certain places. It's called marginalia, right? So you're writing in the margins and you're putting your own ideas and your thoughts and you're having a conversation with the author essentially. And you're also jotting down ideas and concepts and things. And then over time, you have your own index in the front of the book and you can, without looking at the book or going back to it, you can just kind of look and say, okay, what are the most key important things? And I always have three major takeaways, three things that I'm going to apply from any book that I read. And there's like a particular sticky note like this that I have on three parts of the book that'll stick out kind of bigger than everything else. And those are the three things that I'm going to implement. Those are the three big aha moment takeaway type things. And that's something that will stick with me forever. And then I commonplace it. Anything that's in my index, which is usually quotes, statistics, a poem, a thought, an idea, whatever it is, I will then commonplace it in my 3x5 index card filing system, which is something that John Maxwell does and many people going back to Marcus Aurelius do, which is a really cool concept, which I also talk about in my book as well. So it's not about how many books you get through, it's about how many books get through to you. And it's also about how much information you actually hold on to from the books, because I don't keep everything up here. I keep like three things up here from each book. And I read about a book a week, and then everything else I commonplace it. So then I can just go and I can go in my filing system and I can find just about any topic, anything I want, based on a talk I'm going to do, based on a book I'm going to write, based on an article I'm going to produce, or whatever it is.
Great system, my friend.
That's brilliant. That's
And
great.
you got that from reading books.
Yeah. He walks his talk. Well, I want to give people a 90-day challenge, which I did put in the book, Turn Words into Wealth. And it definitely springs from what Jose just shared, which is if you do this for 90 days, I promise you it will change your life. It certainly changed mine, which is read every day. Perhaps taking notes like Jose suggested, but read every day, even if it's just 5 minutes. Read something of quality. Read something, a self-help book or a communication mastery book, or read the Bible or the Tao Te Ching or something, that's high quality. And then write every day, even if it's only for 5 minutes. I did it this morning. I'm rereading As a Man Thinketh. Some of these classics are really worth revisiting once a year or so. And then every week, review what you have written and what you read so that you get the gold from it, as Jose was saying. So you get the juice. But also, when you reread your journal, if you start to notice that you're complaining about the same things over and over, then it confronts you as you read it again, like to either, if it's something you can change it. If you're complaining that you're 20 pounds heavier than you'd like to be, do something about it. Go to the gym. If you are complaining that you'd like to be more educated and you're not reading books, start reading books. But on the other hand, my husband died suddenly when he was 33 and our son was 4. I noticed when I was rereading my diary, I was, for obvious reasons, grieving and repeatedly complaining that my husband was dead. But that's something I can't change. So the only thing we can do, some things we cannot change.
Mhm.
We just need to forgive and accept and release and turn it over to whatever your higher power is. So, but as you honor yourself by talking to yourself, by writing and making notes in the books that you're reading and then reviewing it, you grow, you change, you enhance your talent, and you either change the things that are bothering you or accept and release them. And if you do this for 90 days, I think it will really have a great impact.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So Anthony, you are in the process of writing your book, uh, editing it, going through all the steps that you have to go through. What is something that you do because you are transforming your words in order for someone else to adapt what you're thinking, right? To understand where you're coming from. What is the process like for you, my friend?
For me, it's new because I'm more of a listener than I am of an actual talker. Even though I am a speaker, I like to listen. And so what I'm doing in this process, as you are one of the actual participants, is you are one of the people that I'm listening to. So I take what I write, and I don't think about it. I just write. I just sit down, I get some music, I get in my mood, and I just write. And I write at night. I'm a night owl. So I take the day, do whatever it is I do, and then at night I write. And whatever comes out, comes out. I don't correct it. I do a spell check. That's it. Whatever's there is there, and then I leave it. And then, like you say, during the editing process, and then I give it to whoever goes back, and then I listen, and then go back, take it, and then whatever great corrections need to be made, obvious corrections need to be made, I make them, and then whatever's left over is there, and the reader gets what the reader gets, and what they get from it is what they get from it. And what they learn from is what they learn from it. Because I feel with me and my writing, my writing is to move the reader however that they move. My words, how they come out is how they come out. I'm not meant for my writing to be perfect. My writing is not meant to be a aha moment. It's not meant to be a ooh. It's not meant to make you cry. It's not meant to make you learn or wherever. It is to move you however it is you move. It's to learn you however you learn, teach you however you teach. What you get is what you get. And what you don't get from it is you don't get it. It's not meant for you. And the process that's my process. It's real simple. It's not complicated. It's not meant to dig deep into it. It is that simple. I write.
One of the things I really like about what Anthony's sharing that everybody could do is when you've written something, read it aloud. He said he was a listener. So reading your work aloud can help you really notice, is that what you really meant? Is that what you want to say? And it's different somehow. It's different reading what you've written versus saying it aloud. So I always recommend people do that as one of their final stages of editing.
Two things I want to say, but based on what you both said, about Anthony and Aurora. First of all, yes, I am a out loud reader. So whenever I read out loud. So can I read silently? Sure, but it's not as fun for me. I like to read out loud, and my wife gets annoyed because sometimes we read in the same room, and I'll start reading out loud, and she's like, "Really?" She's like, "Do you really need to read out loud? Can you just read to yourself?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I force myself to read silently when I'm with her, but usually I read out loud. and I just tend to retain the information better, right? Auditorily, I just receive it better, and I can kind of compartmentalize things and understand things better when I read out loud. I don't know why that is. It's just the way I guess I am. But to piggyback off of what Anthony was saying in terms of being a good listener, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So we can listen more. And at the end of the day, for me, I am very similar to Anthony. For a long time, for many years, up until now, I got into the habit because a mentor of mine said, Jose, you have to get really, really good at listening and not just talking all the time. Because if you're talking all the time, all you're hearing is what you already know. So all you're hearing is what you already know. And the only way to learn and to be better is to talk less and listen more. And especially if you're in a room with a bunch of movers and shakers, if you're in a room with influencers and leaders and successful people, it's amazing how people want to keep talking the whole time, but you're not going to learn and grow. The best way to learn and grow is to just take a step back, right? Listen more, but not just listen. You got to get into the habit of asking the right questions. So if you're asking the right questions and you're listening, that is the golden nugget right there. That's where the rubber meets the road, because so many people listen, but they're not necessarily getting what they need because they're not asking questions. So there's a nice healthy balance between asking the right questions and also listening at the same time. And of course, yes, you got to talk and you got to say things, but I agree with you, Anthony. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got to say that one of the things that if you didn't listen to it carefully, I want to share it with you again. He writes, doesn't care. And that right there will allow more people to begin writing, because you need to write. Here's what I do. Besides all my chicken scratch, right? I still write in script, believe it or not. And then I take it and then I put it in a diary. I used to have a diary until I discovered Remarkable too. I'm not promoting them, but any tablet that you can write into, because I like writing. So it feels like I'm actually writing on pen. And believe it or not, the reason I have a piece of paper in here is because I'm going to transfer it in there later, because I needed to write really quick. And so for me, it's about reading it after I did it. And then I go, I love these aspects, hate this one, throw that out. And so I keep confining it, making it better, refining it, if you will, until I get something I really like. And when I used to use journals, I used to highlight, and only the things that were highlighted, I would think about what was I thinking? Because yes, I did read it out loud. And I said, does that sound like what I wanted? And then I take it and put it in I used to have 5 diaries now, or journals, if you will. Now I have Remarkable, so I can do that in one place. So it's my first draft, second draft, third draft, and then I get down to the final draft. And that's how I've been able to write so much. But writing is fun and it's mental, so therefore it's fundamental, right? Consider nobody ever will read your book. Think about that. Nobody will ever read your book. But there'll be a chance if you write it. They may if you write it. If you don't write it, you're right. Nobody will read it. So write, people. Write.
I have a question for all three of you, for Sifu Rafael, Aurora, and Anthony. The same question. We'll just kind of go around the room. And the question is, what is your take on transformation? And then leadership. And how are they interconnected? So we'll start with Aurora.
Transformation and leadership. Well, why don't you ask the $1 million questions here? My take on transformation is that, my experience anyway, is that the most excruciating incidents, such as my husband dying in front of me, are the ones that not only invite us or challenge us to transform, but force us to. So if you would like to transform, you can set yourself a big goal, a nearly impossible goal, and that can be another way to transform. But I think transformation is is not like just like, 20% more or 2x. It's like a 10x idea. So, for example, speaking just a little bit more about transformation, I'm certainly not grateful that my husband died, obviously, but I am grateful for how it transformed me. It fundamentally shifted me from an ambitious A-type personality, go, go, go. My husband and I were, running a 7-figure business that we'd grown from nothing. We were building our dream home on the lake. Everything seemed like amazing. It shifted me to ask the really important questions like, what really matters? Why am I here? How could my life make a difference? And in my depths of despair, when I really didn't want to be on the planet anymore, but I had to because I had my 4-year-old son to look after, I leaned into kind of being a kamikaze pilot. Like, if I don't care if I live or die, what could I do with my life that would really make a difference? And so I did some things that to me at the time felt extremely vulnerable and bold. Like, I published my Diary of Healing. I studied happiness and grief recovery. I helped people transform from grieving people who felt like victims, who felt that God hated them or life hated them, to people who felt, if not joyful every second of every day, at least felt that life was meaningful and that they had something purposeful to do. And now I'm challenging myself to transform, by changing first from writing nonfiction books, which I've been writing for a while, to writing fantasy books, challenging myself, I think, with AI and other things. Like, why couldn't I make 100 times more impact in the world, not just 2x? So I'm challenging myself to transform, to leverage everything that's out there so that I can make a bigger contribution to my clients and the world. And then I think as we transform, leadership naturally flows from that. I think leaders stand for something. So I'm a stand for people to write their books. I'm a stand for people to practice and their $1 million message, create several $1 million messages, understand both the art and the science of communication. It doesn't matter if people ever read my book or work with me. I'm a stand for those things. I believe in those things. And so as part of being a transformative leader, I hope I'm sharing that message today as an example. So that's my personal take on transformation and leadership. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts.
Love it. Love it. Anthony.
With me, transformation and leadership is an obligation. They're going to happen whether you want them to or not. So with me, it's what are you going to do when you realize that they actually happen or is actually going on? Like, so with me, once you realize that you have transformed and that you are a leader or that you are transforming and you are a leader, because we are a leader, again, whether we want to or not, whether we're a good leader, bad leader, we know we're a leader, we don't know we're a leader, we are a leader. And we're transforming, again, really, whether we realize it or not. We transform from birth all the way till we die. So once we realize that we have and that we are, and when we then at that point need to find out why. Then once we find out why, then we can take that transformation and take that leadership and whatever skills that we have at that point in time and whatever type of mentorship that we have at that point in time and whatever type of education that we have at that point in time, put it all together and whatever we want to call it soup, we're going to call it soup today. And whatever soup that we have at that point in time, put it all together and whatever trauma, pain that we have and put it all in there and just use it. Use it and use it for whatever we're going to use it for and just move on and just keep on transforming and keep on leading and just keep on moving and keep on using that why and keep on holding on to that why as hard as we can and using that why and just keep on growing. Because when I came into this speaker game when I came into the speaker game, by the time when I met you, Jose, at that point I had already died twice. I had already been to purgatory, had already been in the Marine Corps, had already had a TBI, had already met the devil, had already been homeless, had already been through what I've been through. So at that point, had my why. I took that why, grabbed onto it, and just here I am today. So, once we realize that we are transforming, we have transformed, and we are a leader, we took that leader and just grab on the guard, grab on the ally, grab on the whoever on it is, and just move. Take it one step at a time.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Anthony. All right, good stuff. Sifu Rafael, let's hear it.
Transformation. I don't want to be the same person I was yesterday. At all. Ever. This is why every day I strive to make tomorrow better. But I can't make tomorrow better till tomorrow comes, but I can plan on it. So planning all my day long, what I'm doing today, I got to be in the moment. In order for me to change, I got to understand who I am currently so that tomorrow I can be someone better. So every day I strive to be better. I don't need to be 1% better. Sometimes that's too much. Tiny, a 100th of a 10%. It doesn't matter. But I know that every day by reading, by researching, by doing my due diligence, because I never want to lead anyone as the same leader I was yesterday. Every day, I need to grow. Every day. And somebody goes, well, how could you have the bandwidth to do that? Well, how could you not? Are you not reading? Are you not learning? If I'm not learning, man, I might as well stay in bed. I might as well not get up at all. I need to be present in my life. I need to be, if you're in front of me like you guys, I need to be present with you. Every instance of my life has meaning. Otherwise, why am I there? Why am I putting myself into a situation that's not going to give me value? Every communication that I have, this is why I have a communication school, so that I can help people understand that their words, their actions, their body mechanics mean something. They impact. Forget everybody else, impact you first. So for me, transformation is me changing daily, sometimes by the hour. Sometimes understanding, man, I just made a mistake. I just learned something. I learned what to do so I don't make the same mistake and how to grow from it. I make mistakes all day long. Thank God I do, so that I can learn from them, right? I've never met a perfect person. If anyone here, anywhere, ever meets a perfect person, I will drop everything, fly anywhere in the world to meet that person. So leadership starts with you. How can you be better so I can help you become better? I create leaders through the actions that I take, through the actions that they take, and then we evaluate it. Are you doing what you need to do daily to become the leader that you would follow? Not the one I follow, that you yourself follow. I want to follow me. If I can't follow me, man, I'm staying in bed.
I love it. Well, thank you, Sifu Rafael. And I guess it's inevitable that I answer the same question, but I've got to say,
Yes, it is.
It's interesting because perspective, right? Two people can look at the same thing and see something completely different. And I think we're getting different flavors to the same answer here from 4 different people. And my answer isn't even the same as any of what you guys said. It's kind of, I think they're all interconnected off the same cloth in different ways, right? So in terms of myself, my perspective on transformation is the concept, the idea that, change is inevitable, right? We're going to change over time. Things are going to change, circumstances. whatever, change is inevitable, but transformation is a choice, right? So we decide whether we want to be better. We decide whether we want to improve and change our conditions and our circumstances and our emotions and our state of mind, right? These are things that require us to make a conscious effort to say, I want to have transformation in my life. Just because things are changing doesn't mean you're going to improve, right? Because change can go in the opposite direction too, right? So transformation, coming from the positive perspective, requires a decision to say, I'm going to be better and I'm going to do the following things to be better. And then you have to back it up by commitment, because just because you decide something doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. You just, in the moment you said it, but doesn't mean you're going to do it. So you have to back your decisions by commitment in order to really achieve transformation. And I think transformation is a prerequisite to success in anything. You have to actually go after transformation. And then when it comes to leadership, I think, is required in the world in order for the world to improve, right? I think we need more leaders out there. And yes, we all lead on certain levels, but there's a difference between leadership 1% and leadership at 100%. I think there are degrees of leadership, right? We all have some type of leadership in different ways. If you're a parent, you're a leader, right? If you are in the workforce, you're a leader. If you're an employee, you're still a leader, even if you're not the boss, right? So on and so forth. So leadership is there across the board for everyone, yes, but there are different degrees of leadership. And if you want to pursue leadership at the highest level, I believe that you have to have a personal growth plan, as John Maxwell always hunkers down on and hits people over the head with this. You got to develop yourself personally, right? So personal development is huge. Any leader out there that is leading at a very high level is really hunkered down in personal development. They are constantly making proactive efforts to improve. And that is required, because as soon as you stop growing, you will soon stop leading, right? It's almost a default. You'll decay. It's like putting a thing of iron outside and leaving it there indefinitely. It's going to start to rot, right? Same concept. If you're not learning and growing, by default, you will stop leading. And they say, readers are leaders. I think that we've all heard that saying, readers are leaders. Leaders are readers, but not all readers are leaders. Interesting statement, right? I think I said it right this time. Yeah, so leaders are readers, but not all readers are leaders. So in this case, I think it's important, and they're interconnected, because transformation is directly linked to leadership and vice versa. So I think they're together. And I think that's the correlation here of the art, because it is a skill. It's something you develop over time, right? Just like sales, just like, playing the piano, right? These are things you can learn over time. I've heard it, and I'll stay quiet after this, but I've heard many times from people, I am not a salesperson. I don't like to sell. And I'm like, that's baloney, in my opinion. You're not a salesperson, okay, because you choose not to be. But sales is a skill. You can learn to be a good salesperson. You can literally learn. You can pick up a book, you can watch YouTube videos, you can pay for a course or a program, attend a summit or a convention, hire a mentor or a coach. There's so many different, or you can do them all, right? Like I have over time. And you will get better. And the reason why you don't like selling is because you're not skilled in selling. And because you're not skilled in selling is because you're not putting the time and effort into it, right? So that's the key. If you improve the skill set, you will gain confidence. And when you gain confidence and you're skilled, all of a sudden you enjoy it more. Anyway, enough said.
I love that, Jose. In fact, I love to recommend the book, The Talent Code, which talks a lot about learning and how we can learn at any age, but it's when we struggle right at the edge of our capacity at 4% harder than we can actually do, that we actually lay down more myelin. We actually rewire our brain. And myelin, for the sales example, they're probably going at 2 miles an hour in their brain. Their myelin is only working at that speed because they haven't trained. But once they've done the training that you suggested, Jose, it could be 100 miles an hour. And that's literally what training does. It lays down myelin and it takes it from a billy goat trail that you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to sell, or you don't know how to speak, or you don't know how to whatever, play tennis, to you've done it, you've practiced it, you've mastered it, or you're mastering it. Mastery is always an elusive goal. And your speed of physical and mental connections can improve 100-fold. And we can do it at any age. I talk about it in my book, Turn Words into Wealth, but it's also in the book, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle.
Love it, love it. Well, consider the fact that sometimes we do need help. We need to collaborate with others. And what better place to do it than take a look?
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Boom. When you consider the fact that you can network with other people, almost like rubbing elbows when you go to an event with somebody who has what you may want and don't know it yet. So that's why I love being part of the Connected Leaders Academy. So Jose does an incredible job to making sure everybody stays connected in a positive way. Let me ask you all a question. I know Jose loves asking incredible questions, so I'm going to try my best, Jose. Let me open up a little bit here. What's one transformation that you personally went through that if you didn't, you wouldn't be who you are today?
Oof, that is so good.
Okay, you can go first.
That is so good.
You can go first.
That is so good. Oh my gosh. I think that's the question of the day, actually. And I will just I'll keep it short and sweet. My biggest transformation that I've had was this word right here, which was my word of the year back in 2019. Execute. Execute. The ability to take massive action, right? Chapter 8, Think and Grow Rich, which is decision, right? The more executive decisions you make, the faster you make them, over time, very seldomly do you go back and regret the decision because you just get better and better and better at making quick decisions. So I think leaders and successful entrepreneurs specifically have the ability to make fast executive decisions, right? Take massive action. So for me, I was for the longest time, I was a learner, learning, as you can see behind me, planning, more learning, more planning, more learning, more planning. And I would never pull the trigger on things. I would never actually do things. I would just dream about it. I would make the plans. I would learn the things. And then I'd get excited and I'd tell people about it. And I would never actually do it until I said, you know what, enough is enough. It's time for me to just do it. And that completely transformed my life to this day.
Great. Thank you for that.
Wow. I feel like I've been reinventing myself every few years. I've launched multiple companies. And one of the things that helped change my life, one of my biggest struggles is perfectionism. Maybe Jose could relate. And
We all can.
yeah. So when I really leaned into, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to help others. I'm here to solve problems, first solve them myself, and then offer those solutions to others. It shifted the weight of perfectionism off my shoulders and shifted me to, hey, yay, I see a problem. Can I solve it? If I can solve it, maybe I would like to, help other people by solving that problem too. So it's kind of like Ryan Holiday. I know you're a Ryan Holiday fan, Jose. The obstacle is the way. So it changed my relationship with problems. It changed my relationships with obstacles by going, oh, goody, there's a problem, there's an obstacle. And instead of like shutting down or running away or being overwhelmed, I kind of perk up with interest. Can I solve it? And maybe I can solve it for others. That's why I'm leaning into AI. Not everybody is going to lean into AI, but I think it's my beautiful, oh, thanks, that's a nice message there. Got distracted by the nice message on Facebook. I think it's my responsibility to lean into AI and see what I can learn so that I can guide others. Hey, don't do this. I tried it. That totally sucked. Oh, maybe try this. That actually worked. And most recently, when COVID hit in 2020, I was once again reminded that we don't have forever. And I decided to give myself permission to write fantasy books. That was a big change. I've gotten quite good at writing nonfiction books. Writing fiction is a whole different animal, but I had to force myself. Okay, Aurora, you can learn, you can do this. You've written screenplays, you've done drama. And, the first book, Magic, Mystery in the Multiverse, won the Reader's Choice Award, Best Book for Teens, when it came out in 2023. And the second book just came out and it's been well received. And now I've got the third one coming out in 2025. So what I'm trying to point to here is not any particular thing, not fantasy books, not AI, but the attitude of learning to lean into problems and then see if I can solve them. Ask for help from friends, from mentors, from coaches, from the divine. And if I can solve them first, yay, I can solve it for myself. Secondly, maybe I want to offer that solution to my friends, my family, my clients, and on podcasts through Sifu to the world.
Thank you, Aurora. I just want to, before I give Anthony the stage, I love the fact that you are holding on to AI, because it's almost as if you recall people who said, oh, computers, they're no good. I can't get on that. Or why do I need a smartphone? Right? I just want to call somebody. Innovation is going to take us and to the next stage we don't even know. AI is at the infancy of where it is going to be. 50 years from now, everything will be based on AI, but we will still be here, right? So let's adapt now while the stage is early, while the lights haven't flicked on yet. So let's do that. Thank you for that. Anthony, you're up. Tell me about your transformation.
Transformation for me was, I say, the last time I died. That was a turning point for me. Because at that point, realized that everything on this worldly plane that we all are wanting and chasing and trying to get, whether we need it or not, obligated to have, and all that stuff. And then it doesn't matter. Things that I've seen and was told and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. So right now, for me, that was a turning point. That was a transformation point. Everything that I've been through in my life and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. So I'm blessed enough and lucky enough that I'm in a point, and I'm at a point right now that I don't have to go chasing things. We all need things, but death, that was a turning point for me. That was a transformation point for me. So now that I'm back and I'm at this point doing what I'm doing, that gives me a whole new outlook on life and a whole new purpose.
New opportunity.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. I got to tell you, for me, my biggest transformation came when I went into forgiveness. When I stopped blaming other people, being that I didn't know where they truly came from, even though they were not being nice to me, I didn't have to continue to blame them, but take the reins and decide where I wanted to go. One of the biggest decisions I made was when I decided to do podcasting because I got annoyed. I got annoyed that every day during COVID, I would get 1,000 emails with, buy my program. I'm the newest coach in the world. Woohoo. Yeah. What have you done? What have you done lately? What did you do last year? Or did you just decide this overnight that now you're a coach? And listen, everybody has to start somewhere. We all did, every one of us. But for me, it was, I want to talk to people who actually have been doing this thing, who've been coaching people. And from there, I'm going to be honest. I got addicted to my own shows. Not because of me, Jose. Yeah, I was speaking and I learned nothing when I'm speaking, but I was learning from incredible human beings who said yes to being on the show. From all of you right now, from the three of you, from Mandy, from Ivy, from everybody who's making a comment. Thank you for making the comments, for being part of this conversation. That was a big transformation too for me, understanding that it's not about me, it's about you.
I love what you're saying about forgiveness, Sifu, and I just want to yellow highlight that. I love the book A Course in Miracles, and it basically says in every moment we have a choice between grievances or gratitude, between fear or faith. And grievances or annoyances can be like a toxic cancer that can eat us up from the inside. But if we choose, as Sifu is modeling, if we choose forgiveness, if we choose radical acceptance, if we choose gratitude, just watch those grievances melt away and your life and your health and your vitality be transformed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback off of that decision point of what you just stated. I just got off of this, I guess, 2 days ago. My two youngest kids were in the ICU with RSV for 10 plus days, right? And it was a horrible, horrible experience. I've never been in a situation where it was that scary and that disturbing to me, right? I've been in situations like everybody else, right? But never like that where your two youngest kids, a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old, are helpless and I can't help them and they're struggling. And my 3-month-old, I almost lost him. I was this close to he almost died. And they had to airlift him in a helicopter. And they said, if we don't put a tube and a respirator in him now, he may not make the 10-minute flight, so we got to do what we got to do. And it was a tough road of recovery to see that. So for me, I walked away transformed this in the last 10 days because it gives me a new perspective on love and what love is and how serious love can be, right? That bond when you feel like, oh my gosh, something that you take for granted, having your kids with you all the time, to, oh my God, I'm about to lose one of my children, is a horrible feeling. And I never want to revisit that again. And it gives me a new perspective on what truly matters, right? And sometimes you just got to slow down to speed up, as they say. So sometimes you just got to slow down to speed up. So I think I was given an indirect message to say, hey, give your family a little bit more time. It's great that you're building and scaling and growing and doing all these things, but don't forget about your family, right? And for me, it's huge. And not that I do forget about my family. I actually give my family a lot of time, but not enough time. As I look at things and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? Like I have so much gratitude now in my heart at a whole nother level. And I appreciate all the little things that I didn't appreciate before. Just being able to wake up and give my kids a hug is huge, right? And sometimes we just take that for granted. So
many of these precious things we do. Yeah, I love that you're sharing that. I'm in Los Angeles right now, which if you've been watching the news, you've been seeing the horrible fires. We had winds up to 90 miles an hour, and it was just blowing, blowing the fire and making it thousands and thousands of acres. 100,000 people evacuated, only a few deaths. But like Jose is saying, we take for granted clean air, being able to drive on the road because it's not closed with firefighters. Also, it made me grateful for the firefighters, for the phone alert that tells you if you need to evacuate or you're in the zone that might need to evacuate. Like, The smartphones that we didn't even need 50 years ago have now become so indispensable. So there's so many things that normally are not in our field of attention that are so precious, like your 3-year-old, or like not having fires, or like being alive, like Anthony was saying.
It's I've been obviously praying nonstop for Jose's family and for Jose and his wife Katie, and we can't pray enough for someone we love. But then we also should pray for people we don't know, like all the people in California. The crazy thing is, I'm supposed to be doing a speaking event in Universal Studios in February. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's not my real concern. My concern is that everybody have their lives. We may lose material things, we may lose everything, but if we have that precious gift of life and we have people near us that love us, I think that's what really speaks volumes to my heart. And I know that I'm praying for you too, Aurora, that hopefully you don't have to evacuate and that the fires do get put out. Yeah, I was praying last night. Let the winds calm down, Lord.
I know. I was praying for that too.
That was my prayer. My prayer was, when he came out and he told the storm, the oceans to just calm. I said, Lord, please tell the winds in California just to calm down, to chill. Right? That was my prayer last night. That was one of my many prayers.
They are calming down. Well, it was interesting because my son and I were on like a fire watch. So every hour, half an hour, one of us was awake, and we, spelled off who was going to do it that first night when we were only 8 miles from the Sunset fire. And so I packed a backpack just in case we had to, leave. And it was very interesting. Like, I have a bunch of stuff here. What did I really need to take? And I realized so little. Like, obviously I take my phone and my computer and my passport and my credit cards. But besides that, it was not things, but beings that breathe. So my son, myself, his pet, that was all that really mattered. So I, just didn't even really feel the backpack, because in moments like this, we realize how little material objects matter. Like Jose, I'm sure, is very aware the lives of your children are so, so precious. Who cares about stuff?
Yeah, without a doubt. Consider the leadership that's happening in California. And we talk about transformation. What's going to happen once all these fires do calm down? Once rebuilding, right? That transformation from something that is, was, and will be. And that right there is what we need to do. Is we can't hold on to what we had, but we need to move. If we have somebody special in our life, we definitely want to hold on to them for sure. And the important thing for Aurora is her son. I mean, listen, if you got away with not your credit cards, so what? But your son is what truly matters, right? Jose, because of the kind of person that he is, we didn't have just the local people. He had people all over the world praying for him and his family and his beautiful wife. And we now have to turn our prayers not away from Jose's family, because I will never do that, but I'm also adding to people I've never met, right? People that I'm hoping that there will be. And I know, thank God, that only a few people were lost in these fires, because it could have been worse.
Oh, wow. Could have been much worse.
Right?
Yeah, I always say that a lot of times in life, like, we're going to get hit and get blindsided, right, by life, right? Because we just don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how it's going to happen. Things just happen. And we know it's inevitable that we're going to face challenges. It's not if it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. We don't know what the challenges are, because they come in different sizes and different shapes for everybody individually. But I have this like school of thought where I'm just like, I'm prepared, like I'm mentally resilient and mentally strong, constantly preparing my mind and my heart and my spirit, saying, whenever life is going to come at me hard, I'm ready for it. So when it comes, I'm like, oh, there you are. I knew you were coming. I'm ready. Let's do this. Right now, is it easy? No. Do I like it? No. But I am mentally prepared for those things. When it comes, you're ready to go. You that spiritual warfare. You're ready to go to battle. You're equipped and dressed up appropriately in your armor, ready to go to war. So anyway, I am very prayerful right now for all the people in California and all the people going through hard times. Sometimes you gotta go through some things to have a new outlook on how you see things and how you show up for others too, right? How we should, because we gotta check ourselves and ask ourselves, how are we showing up for people that need our help and need our love and support? So everything I just went through, it was a wake up call for me, not only in how I see life, but also how I show up for others too.
Absolutely. We've come to that time, and I know we could probably talk for many, many hours here. What I'd love to do right now is give everybody a chance to 30, 45 seconds, tell us how someone here can log on with you, have some time with you. So, Anthony, would you mind going first?
Sure. Obviously, link to my website is below, divinewordsdimension.com. I can be reached there. Obviously, on social media, my name Anthony Cutno. Obviously, on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's my name, and looking forward to meeting with any and everybody, all men, veterans. Like I said before, I'm a Marine, retired Marine, disabled veteran, Air Force. I was in the Air Force. I got to say that. I have to say that I was in the Air Force. I got put out and went to the Marine Corps afterwards. So I'm here, trauma coach for all men and veterans. So I'm here to serve.
Well, people would like to get some. Yeah, thank you, Anthony. If people would like to get some gifts from me, they can go to turnwordsintowealth.com. They can get my book, Turn Words into Wealth, for free, as well as some videos that train you on communication techniques, and as well as the book, Marketing Fast Track. Or you can go to my website, samepagepublishing.com.
Thank you. Thank you. And before you go, I just want to shout out to everyone who logged on, gave us some hearts, gave us some love. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, we're here every other week, so come on down. Plus all the other shows I have like 300 shows, I think. We'll get there eventually, right? Jose, would you mind? I'm going to put your information going across. Tell us how we can connect with you as well.
Yeah, sure. So Jose Escobar, I'm here in Maryland, but business-wise, I'm connected around the country and around the world. Connected Leaders Academy, if you're an entrepreneur and you'd like to explore being a part of a network of 450 plus entrepreneurs, all successful from all different walks of life in 25 countries and 46 states, connect with me. Check out connectedleadersacademy.com. That's scrolling at the bottom right now. Let's set up a virtual coffee, connect, learn more. And then, of course, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, although I live primarily on Facebook. That's where 99% of what I do is on Facebook, so just find me there. Thank you so much, Sifu Rafael, and Anthony and Aurora. You guys were amazing.
Absolutely. I'm Sifu Rafael. I host a bunch of different shows, but my most important thing, just like Aurora, words are your wealth. Make sure you're using them right. I have a communication school, and we help you develop yourself into the warrior that you need to be with your words. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Truly appreciate every one of you. Aurora, please stay safe. Anthony, keep that book coming, buddy. We look forward to it. And Jose, we have so many great things happening. Do me a favor, everybody. Just stay on. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. Make it a beautiful one. Take care.